John L. Lewis was born February 12, 1880, in Lucas County, Iowa. The son of two immigrants, Lewis became affiliated with mining from the age of 17 when he got his first job at the local Big Hill mine. In 1906, at just 26 years of age, Lewis was elected to be a delegate for his mine at the United Mine Workers National Convention, and just 1 year later he launched a bid for mayor of Lucas. However, he lost the election. This was actually for the best. In 1911, Samuel Gompers, the head of the American Federation of Labor, hired Lewis to be a union organizer. In 1919, Lewis called for the first major cold strike in American history, and more than 400,000 miners walked away from their jobs in protest of better working conditions and higher pay. In 1936, his union made a contribution of $500,000 to Franklin Roosevelt's campaign. When Roosevelt was sworn into president, he appointed Lewis as a member of the National Labor Board, where he helped to raise the wages of miners nationwide. Fast forward to 1937, the year Lewis delivered his speech, Labor and the Nation. He was attempting to gain negotiation rights with many anti-union companies, which we later succeeded in doing. Within this speech, Lewis stresses the need for unionization, coupled with the exploitation many workers face on a daily basis.
Out of the agony and travail of economic America, the Committee for Industrial Organization was born. To millions of Americans, exploited without stint by corporate industry and socially debased beyond the understanding of the fortunate, its coming was as welcome to as the dawn to the night watcher. To a lesser group of Americans, infinitely more fortunately situated with privilege, its coming was as heralded as the harbinger of ill, sinister of purpose, of unclean methods and non-virtuous objectives. But the Committee for Industrial Organizations is here. It is now henceforth a definite instrumentally, destined greatly to influence the lives of our people and the internal and external course of the Republic. This is true only because the purposes and objectives of the Committee for Industrial Organization find economic, social, political, and moral justification behind them in the hearts of millions who are its members and the millions more who support it. The organization and constant onward sweep of the movement exemplifies the resentment of the many towards the selfishness, greed, and neglect of the few. The workers of the nation were tired of waiting for corporate industry to right their economic wrongs, to alleviate the social agony, and to grant them their political rights. Despairing of fair treatment, they resolved to do something for themselves. They, therefore, have organized a new labor movement, conceived with principles of the National Bill of Rights, and committed to the proposition that all workers are free to assemble in their own forums, voice their own grievances, declare their own hopes, and contract on even terms with modern industry for the sale of their only material possession, their labor. The Committee for Industrial Organization has a numerical enrollment of 3,718,000 members. It has 32 affiliated national and international unions. Of this number, 11 unions account for 2,765,000 members. The group is organized in the textile, auto, garment, lumber, rubber, electrical manufacturing, power, steel, coal, and transport industries. The remaining membership exists in the maritime, oil production and refining, shipbuilding, leather, chemical, retail, meatpacking, vegetable canning, metalliferous mining, miscellaneous manufacturing, agricultural labor, and service and miscellaneous industries. Some 200,000 workers and organized into 507 chartered local unions not yet attached to a national industrial union. This record bespeaks progress. It is a development without precedent in our own country. Some of this work was accomplished with the enlightened corporation or the tolerant acquiescence of employers who recognized that a new labor movement was being forged and who were not disposed, in any event, to flout the law of the land. On the other hand, much of this progress is made in the face of violent and deadly opposition, which reached its climax in the slaughter of workers, paralleling the massacres of Ludlow and Homestead. In the steel industry, the corporations generally have accepted collective bargaining and negotiated wage agreements. With the Committee for Industrial Organization, 85% of the industry is under contract, and a peaceful relationship exists between the management and the workers. With written wage contracts have been negotiated with 399 steel companies covering 510,000 men. 1,031 local lodges and 700 communities have been organized. 5 of the corporations in the steel industry elected to resist collective bargaining and undertook to destroy the Steelworkers Union. These companies filled their plants with industrial spies, assembled depots of guns and gas bombs, established barricades, controlled their communities with the armed thugs, leased the police power of cities, and mobilized the military power of a state to guard them against the industrial collective bargaining within their plants. 18 steelworkers were either shot to death or had their brains clubbed out by police or armed thugs in the pay of the steel companies. In Chicago, Mayor Kelly's police force was successful in killing 10 strikers before they could escape the fury of the police, shooting 8 of them in the back. 160 strikers were maimed and injured by police clubs, riot guns, and gas bombs, and were hospitalized. Hundreds of strikers were arrested, jailed, treated with brutality while incarcerated, and harassed by succeeding litigation. None but strikers were murdered, gassed, injured, jailed, or manslaughtered. No one had to die except the workers who were standing for the right guaranteed for them by Congress and written in the law.